Here we are again with another country to talk about. What country are we doing today, Ian?
Brazil.
Brazil, okay. So Brazil is a very important country. It's the biggest country in South America, and in fact it's the 5th largest country in the whole world. Can you guys think of any countries that are
Saudi Arabia.
that are bigger than Brazil?
United States.
United States is bigger than Brazil.
China.
China is bigger than
Russia.
Brazil. Russia, that's very good, Cleo. Can you think of the 4th one that's bigger? You might not be able to get this one.
Wait, you think? Let us think. Is it Saudi?
No, Saudi is smaller. So it's Canada. It would be, I think actually the 3rd largest country ahead of the United States. So Brazil is the 5th biggest country in the whole world, and it also has the 6th most people of any country.
What's the most people?
Well, you guys should know
China.
that. China, right? China. And do you
Second
know?
place is India.
Right, 2nd is
Third
India.
place is us.
3rd place is the United States, right?
And 4th place is Brazil is what place?
Brazil is 6th. So there's a couple of other countries, and actually I think the other ones that are bigger than Brazil are Indonesia and Mexico, but I'm not 100% sure. But Brazil has the 6th most people. The other thing to know about Brazil is that it touches every other country in South America except for 2. Do you know which 2 countries in
Chile.
South America? Chile, it doesn't touch.
And
It
Falklands.
touches Argentina. Falklands not a country. What's the
Ecuador.
Ecuador. So Chile and Ecuador are the only countries in South America that Brazil does not touch.
But what about Panama?
Panama's actually not in South America. Panama's in Central America, which is considered to be part of North America. Why don't you go ahead and sit down? So the history of Brazil, as far as we know it, as far as, we know it in the United States and the West, really begins around the year 1500. And that's when the first Portuguese explorer claimed Brazil for what country in Europe?
Portugal.
Portugal, right? His name was Pedro Alvarez Cabral.
That's like the only country that speaks. That's one of the
Right, because it's the only country in South America where they speak Portuguese. Most of the other countries, all the other major countries in South America, Central America, Mexico, they speak what?
Spanish.
Spanish, okay? Now the name Brazil, they're not 100% sure, but they think that it comes from the Portuguese word for burning coals, and that word is brasa. And the reason they named Brazil after burning coals is that it had a special kind of tree, which they now call Brazil wood, but if you cut the tree, the wood in the tree is a very dark red, like a burning coal. So they think that Brazil actually got its name from that tree. So Brazil became very important to the Portuguese because of a lot of sugar cane that grew there.
I love sugar.
And everybody loved sugar. And so Brazil made a lot of money for Portugal. And one way, they didn't have enough people to cut down all that sugar cane. So one of the ways that they found enough people to cut down all those sugar cane was slavery. So a lot of people were kidnapped or bought in Africa, brought over the Atlantic on ships, and kept in slavery in Brazil to cut sugarcane. And that is why a large portion of the people in Brazil are descended from slaves, descended from people in Africa, which makes Brazil one of the most culturally diverse, racially diverse countries in South America. So in 1822, Brazil became an independent country. The capital of Brazil is Brasilia, but Brasilia is not a very important city. It's a city that was made in the middle of the country to be a capital. The biggest and most important cities in Brazil are Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, which are in the south of the country, and they're on the coast of the ocean. But Brazil's a very big country, and there are a lot of different parts that are very different from each other. So we're going to learn about those different parts of the country. So we're going to watch a little bit about Rio. It's Rio de Janeiro, but everybody calls it Rio. And every winter, although it's not winter in Brazil because it's below the equator, so it's actually summer, they have their carnival, which is a Catholic religious celebration to mark the end of the fast, or actually the beginning of the fast before Easter. So right before the fast, where everybody sacrifices before the Easter holiday, they have a big feast, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and now it's like the world's biggest party. So we're going to see the parade that they have on the last night before they start fasting for Easter. Another part of Brazil, okay, is called Bahia. So Bahia is about in the middle of the country. It's also on the coast over here. And the most important city in Bahia is called Salvador, and that is on the coast as well. And the thing that Bahia is most famous for is that it has the most African culture, because that's where most of the sugar plantations were, and that's where most of the African slave descendants ended up, although they're all over Brazil. But Bahia has more than any other part. So they have a lot of African culture and special culture for the people descending from the slaves, and that's considered to be Brazil's most African city.
It soars along a coastline that faces the continent of its origin. And during its annual carnival, a uniquely Brazilian moment of spiritual freedom, it explodes into fragments of color, shadow, and frenetic movement, erupting from a people who sing to their orishas and their kidnapped ancestors in a single voice. It is an energy that does not forget, and everywhere, in everything, whispers one word: Africa. It was Brazil's first capital. Between 1549 and 1763, Salvador was the principal colonial link between Portugal and the New World. And in 1558, the first slave market of the Americas was inaugurated. For more than 300 years, enslaved African labor was the cornerstone of Brazil's sugarcane, mining, and coffee economy. During that period, an estimated 4 to 5 million people were captured, mostly from Central West Africa, and shackled to the crammed holds of Portuguese ships that sailed across the Atlantic Ocean to Brazilian shores. By far, more human chattel was brought here than any other country in the Americas, including the United States. Of those slaves brought to Brazil, more than 1 million came to Salvador.
From Africa to be kidnapped and bought and dragged to Brazil. They were punished.
What happened?
Well, they would punish them if they tried to do it, if they did anything wrong, if they tried to escape.
Kill them if they were punished?
They would kill them, but they didn't want to kill them because they were worth money to them. So they would try and just whip them, do things that wouldn't kill them, wouldn't stop them from being alive. And it was the same thing here in the United States. So the African culture in Bahia, they have different things that they do that are very special. But one of them is this kind of dance martial art that's called Capoeira. And it's really amazing to see. So we talked about the South and the big cities in the South. We talked about Bahia, but there's another really big and important area of Brazil. And in fact, to the world, it's probably the most important area of Brazil. And that is up in the north around this huge river, the biggest river in South America and one of the biggest rivers in the whole world. Do you remember what that river is called?
The Nile.
It's got a whole jungle named after it.
Amazon River?
The Amazon River, right. And all this area is the Amazon jungle that goes into 6 or 7 different countries. So the Amazon River, many smaller rivers feed into the Amazon, which eventually drains out into the Atlantic Ocean. So there are rivers everywhere throughout this gigantic rainforest of the Amazon. So that's really important to the world because those, it's a very important ecosystem, and those trees in that jungle suck up a lot of carbon dioxide and churn out a lot of oxygen, which is what humans and animals need to breathe. And one big issue is that these countries like Brazil and other countries, they're still developing, they need a lot of wood, they want to chop down trees, but that hurts the whole world. So there's a lot of kind of tension about damage that's being done and the shrinking of the Amazon rainforest and fires. And also there are still tribes, native people, who live in the Amazon jungle and don't have any contact with Europeans and modern people, and people want them to be able to keep their territory and to stay free and untouched from the outside world. But that gets harder and harder to do every year as you know, tourists and other people, you know, woodcutters and stuff start pushing further and further into the forest. But they have a lot of interesting animals, and one of the most interesting animals that they have in the Amazon is the piranha. Have you guys heard of piranhas?
No.
Have you, Ian, heard of piranhas? Piranhas are meat-eating fish. And there are a lot of myths told about piranhas, but they really do eat meat, and they can be pretty vicious. So let's see what... There's people say that piranhas eat people, but I don't know if it's ever actually happened.
Right, here we go, here we go.
I hope they don't eat people.
There we go. That's a sizable fish. That's a piranha, but that is a big piranha. Now, this is something I've got to be very careful with. Careful, 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 careful. And there it is. Imagine swimming with these boys in the water. Oh, crunch. Oh, crunching on the hook as I take it out. How about that for a piranha? This is a black piranha. It's the biggest species of piranha. Look at those teeth. Look at those teeth. I'm being extremely careful here. They just have such powerful jaws. I mean, that would take a serious sized lump out of you. Literally, the size of that jaw, that would be the size of the hole that would be missing. Those teeth are so sharp that when people get cut by them, they say they don't even feel it when it happens. They only notice it when they see the blood. I've heard all these stories about piranhas being capable of skeletonizing bodies literally within moments or minutes. I've got this freshly killed duck here from the market, and I think it's time to put those stories to the test. It's apparent that the sound, the thrashing of a distressed animal is what attracts them, so I'm just a little bit of movement to start them homing in. Right, they're in there already. I just saw a flash of silver with that, you know, very distinctive red as well. Right, they're starting to arrive now. Once one finds it, basically, you know, that just kicks the whole thing off. Right, look at that, go in the head there. They've already just stripped all the flesh from the spine. Flip this in and have a look. Oh, right. From the back, this didn't look too bad, but actually flip it over the side where the fish were, and yeah, they've made a real mess of that. They've actually chewed through a huge expanse of feather to get at the meat, and they've gone right into the body cavity. They've taken most of the meat away. There's a huge section of actually the backbone gone in the neck. The head is just reduced to bone, both eyes are gone, and all this just in a matter of minutes. Right.
This is a guy who makes videos all over the world about food. So here he's going to try some food in a village in the Amazon rainforest, and we're going to see the kind of stuff that they eat.
We just stopped by a local home. We're just seeing if they're home, if they're available, if they can cook some food for us. beautiful, and the boat ride to get here was fantastic. The trees, just the like variety and diversity of trees. It's just like about maybe like 1 kilometer from the city though, so I don't know how authentic it will be. And then they said they might do a little dancing, so I'm not sure if it will be a little bit touristy, but anyways, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a learning experience. It's just beautiful here too. Back here is a school. They even have a football field, and then these are some of the homes, some of the houses. The monkey is a little bit playful, jumping all around. He's setting up the grill over there. We're gonna have the fish that we brought, some other things that they cook, that they prepare from here. It's like a full-time job to the monkey just keeps coming back. Hey guy. Hey buddy. He is friendly, but he just jumps on everyone and everything. Chocolate?
Isso é vinho de bacaba.
Bacaba.
Patauá, é.
Patauá.
Natural, é. Farinha. Chibé. Name chibé.
Chibé.
Chibé. Farinha molhada em português. Abacaba. Isso, é.
Whoa.
Muito gostoso.
Monkey just jumped out of nowhere. Wow. No, that's not chocolate. That's some type of fruit. It tastes like, it's not sweet at all. Wow. It's amazing. It's like, tastes almost like blended bark. Like it tastes like you're drinking bark. That's awesome. But it's creamy. Okay, I want to try this other one that he just made.
Guaraná.
Guaraná. Oh yeah. Oh, that tastes like ginseng. Like no sweetness at all. It tastes like ginseng, yeah, like a root. Like a root. And then the other one I want to taste. Ah, this is guaraná?
Isso.
This is the powder of the guaraná. Yeah, it smells like ginseng.
Farinha molhada.
Farinha molhada.
Chibé.
Chibé.
Chibé. Agora tá chibé.
Oh man, slightly sour and crunchy like unpopped popcorn. That's good. That's like you're drinking and eating at the same time. One of the things they eat here are ants, and so she went to go get some ants, puts them in water so that they don't crawl out of the bucket, and I'm not sure how they're going to prepare it yet. Yeah, it is definitely going to rain soon. Clouds are coming. It's getting dark. You can already feel some sprinkles.
Marcela já tá morta. Uau. Ela é a saúba.
Wow, that's a burst of flavor. Tastes like lemongrass just being released into your mouth. That is delicious.
O sarrai, beiju e o chibé.
Okay, completely natural. This is after we drank the water green with he put the red ants on top of it. Wow, completely natural dish. No seasonings, just the ants. That lemongrass like, oh, I think I felt that ant. But you got like the crunch of the grain, which has been soaking in the water. And then that vibrancy of the ants. The ants are so powerfully flavored.
It's called shibe. The grain is called shibe. Get a big bite.
Chase that with some of the guaraná. That just tastes like health. Yeah. And they also have these little corn chips.
Prato normal, cimento.
Tastes like just like dehydrated ground corn.
So now we're gonna watch a video about another kind of food that's kind of like the Brazilian national dish, like the most important dish that they eat in Brazil, and it's called feijoada. It's kind of a stew of meat and beans and rice and all kind and some other stuff that they put into it, and it's really thick and rich.
Food is here and we have a nice selection. Just have a look. Lots of different pots and things happening. So I'm just going to serve myself.
Wow, that's a lot of food.
Yeah, so we're going to start with a base of white rice that I just spilled all over the table. But white rice is one of those things that is never missing at the table when you're in a Brazilian home. And on top of that, I'm gonna put my feijão, which is the black beans on its own.
Ooh, that looks
And
good.
in the next one here, you have the feijoada, which is the black beans and the meat. So this is like a bean and meat stew, and it has different cuts. And it's a mix of pork and beef. So I'll grab some sausage. Let's start with that. And
That
let's
looks
see.
good.
Oh, there's more over here. So I'm gonna grab some manioc.
Yep.
I think that's the English name for it. Some greens.
And then over here we have, what's this one?
Ooh, okay. So the powder is farofa, which is kind of like a manioc flour. So you want to be careful with this because it's really easy to choke on.
You know what? I think that's the one I tried on its own and I didn't enjoy that
Yeah.
much. But
On
I think
its
it's going to be
own,
pretty good with beans.
It's very dry. Yeah, and this apparently is fried pork skin. I think that's what I understood, so.
Looks like a puffed cracker.
It does. I've never tried fried pork skin. Not sure I'm gonna like it, but let's get started, shall we?
So you're getting a little bit of everything there,
A
huh?
little bit of everything. I almost feel like I should be eating this with a spoon. I feel like it's gonna be messy. That's quite good.
The only other part that's really important to Brazilian culture that I haven't shown you on the video is what we call soccer. They and the rest of the world call it football. And Brazil is probably the most famous football, soccer country in the whole world. And they've won the world championship many times. And the person that many people consider the best soccer player who ever lived was from Brazil. His name is Pelé. And when I was a kid, he was the most famous soccer player in the world. And some people still think he's the best. He's still the one a lot of people think is the best ever.
Is he still alive?
So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still alive.
Does he still play soccer?
No, he's way too old to play soccer. He must be about 80 years old now. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at something about how to speak the language of Brazil. Do you guys remember what language they speak in Brazil?
Portuguese.
Portuguese, right? But it doesn't sound entirely like the Portuguese they speak in Portugal because
It's a mix.
over a couple of hundred years, just the language has changed. So people, they can understand each other, but there's a lot of stuff that's different between the Portuguese they speak in Brazil and the Portuguese that they speak in Portugal.
When we meet someone, we can say oi, hi, oi, olá, hello, olá. When you meet a person in the morning, you say bom dia, good morning, which literally means good day, bom dia. In the afternoon, boa tarde, boa tarde. At night, boa noite, boa noite. In Portuguese, we use boa noite for both good evening and good night. After you say oi or olá, usually you will say oi, tudo bem? Hi, everything good? Oi, tudo bem? Or olá, como vai? Hello, how's it going? Olá, como vai? Como vai literally means how you go.
One thing that everybody says in Brazil is they say tudo bem. That means everything's good. When you like everything, people will say, how's everything going? Say tudo bem and you give a thumbs up.
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem.
Tudo bem. Tudo bem. Obrigado. E você?
So obrigado means thank you.
Thank you and you.
Thank you and you. Você is you. So you
Tudo
say.
bem. And
So you
is
say.
and.
Is and. So if I wanted to say, how are you? I would say, oi, como vai? And what would you say?
Tudo bem. Tudo bem. Obrigado. E você?
Tudo bem. Obrigado. You get it?
Oh, tudo bem. Obrigado. E você?
E você?
E você?
Right. And then do you guys remember how to say good morning? You say bom dia.
Bom dia.
And if you want to say
Hi.
well,
Oi.
hi, oi,
And hola.
or hola.
Hola
And
is
if you
like
want to
Spanish.
say good evening or good night, boa noite.
Boa noite.
All right.
Boa
Bom
noite.
dia. Bom
Bom
dia.
dia.
Good morning. Boa noite.
Boa noite. I
Boa
have a question.
noite. Yeah.
Do you say boa noite for good morning and good night?
No, you say only say boa noite for good evening and good night. All right, so let's just remember the most important things about Brazil, right? It's a very big country, 5th biggest country in the world. It's the biggest country in South America. It touches all the other countries in South America except for Chile and Ecuador. It's the only country in South America where they speak Portuguese.
And the Amazon River.
And the Amazon River, one of the most important, largest rivers in the world, is in Brazil. And the rainforest, the biggest cities and the most famous cities are Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, but the capital is Brasilia. Okay, what do you guys think of Brazil? You guys want to go there, go to the Amazon jungle someday, meet the monkeys, fish for piranhas?
Yes. I have a question.
Yeah.
But will the native people kill you?
The native people might kill you if you went so far into the jungle, you met native people who don't like other people, who don't like tourists, who don't like other people from Brazil, but you will never get that far into the jungle. The only people you will see are the native people who are very, very used to foreigners and other Brazil people and are friendly. So you don't have to worry about that.
Good. I don't want to get killed in Brazil.
So that's all for now.
Bye.
Brazil.
Bye.
Brazil, everybody. Bye-bye.